Interior, restaurant kitchen. Mary, a middle-aged waitress, is clocking out at the computer. The calendar above her left shoulder reads February. She looks tired and rubs her sore back. Enter Lawrence, the restaurant owner. Last one out, huh?
Yeah. Carrie was supposed to be here, but her baby caught a cold. What are you still doing here?
Just finishing up counting the drawers and locking up the safe. You don't work tomorrow, do you?
Nope. Friday's off. Gotta drive my kids to school.
Great. Any plans for this weekend?
Yeah, it's my brother's birthday. We're having a party and some of the family's coming over.
Oh, exciting. There's a pause while Lawrence stands there as she finishes clocking out. Lawrence then grabs her by the small of her back and pulls her closer to him. Mary, I really appreciate you coming in tonight and staying so late. Mary looks uncomfortable but doesn't push herself away. She looks down at her feet.
Thank you.
Would you be interested in working any more of these late nights? Get that paycheck up a little bit?
I'll cover somebody's shift if I have to, but I need my schedule the way it is now.
You sure?
Yes. Now I have to go home and see my kids before they fall asleep.
She pushes herself away from him and begins to walk away. Let me know if you change your mind. Have a good weekend, Mary. Mary walks to the door of the restaurant and walks out. Exterior, restaurant parking lot. Mary walks towards her gray Pontiac Grand Am with the restaurant to her back. Lawrence is standing by the large glass window. He continues to watch as Mary's car pulls out of the parking lot and onto the road. Interior, home living room. The front door to the house unlocks and Mary steps in. She looks up to see her older brother Calvin laid back in his recliner watching the news. Her daughter Casey, age 12, is fast asleep on the couch. The house is not very clean.
Cal, I told you to put the kids to bed if I'm at work too late.
Calvin looks at the clock on the wall and then at Mary.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the time.
What were you paying attention to?
Mary walks up to the TV and shuts it off and starts picking things up off the floor.
Hey, what the hell?
What the hell is all of your trash on the floor?
My trash? It's your kid that's a filthy heathen.
Oh, screw you. Have you even moved all day? You got sauce all over your shirt. You look disgusting.
Calvin stands up rather quickly. Mary backs away slightly.
What the fuck is wrong with you right now?
Mary's lip quivers as she tries to find the words.
Nothing. Just a rough day at work, that's all.
Huh.
But would it kill you to maybe do some work around here? I mean, your party's tomorrow.
Calvin grabs a hold of Mary's wrist.
Work? I've done my work. I paid for this house. I worked with Dad until he died and supported you until he lost his shop. I kicked that son of a bitch husband to the curb for you when he cheated.
Calvin looks over at the couch and sees that Casey has her eyes open. She quickly shuts them and pretends to be asleep. He lets go.
Next time, just pick it up and don't say shit.
Calvin picks up what's left of his beer and goes into his bedroom. Interior, home kitchen, morning. Mary is busy washing dishes while Calvin is eating and reading the paper.
Casey, are you ready for school?
Casey runs down the hall with her backpack on.
Have you said happy birthday to your Uncle Calvin yet? Happy birthday, Uncle Calvin. How old are you?
Calvin chuckles.
Old.
All right, I'm going to go start the car, Casey. Did you brush your teeth?
Casey looks at her and tries to nod but can't lie to her mother.
Go do it.
She runs off and Mary goes out the door. After a few seconds, she comes back.
Hey, Uncle Calvin.
What is it, sweetheart?
Will you sign my permission slip to go to a field trip to the paper factory? Mom says I can't go because it might be dangerous.
Now how could paper be dangerous? Of course I'll sign it. Give it here.
He signs the paper and pats her on the head.
Thanks, Uncle Calvin.
She starts to skip away, but Calvin grabs her hand.
You know you can't leave without a goodbye kiss.
I'm too old for goodbye kisses.
Nonsense. Come here.
Casey smiles at her uncle. Calvin has his lips puckered, and Casey gives them a light tap with hers.
Ew, mustache.
Casey laughs as she runs out the door. Calvin smiles. Interior, home kitchen, evening. The atmosphere of the house has completely changed from quiet and downbeat to booming and cheerful. The kitchen is full of other adults, all eating happily and drinking wine. Casey is away in the living room. Mary is at the sink cleaning dishes. Calvin is seated at the head of the table.
Here you go, Cal. Happy birthday.
Oh my, a bottle of single malt scotch. Paul, this is great. I'll save it for when I'm dying. Thank you.
Paul, Calvin, and the rest of the table laugh.
And this is from me and Beatrice, Calvin. I hope you like it.
Fresh pair of Oxfords. I had a pair like this 15 years ago.
They're actually Johnson and Murphy Oxfords.
Wow, well thank you very much, you two.
And I got you this.
2 Cubans, eh? You know me too well.
2? One of them's for me.
They all join in laughter again.
I was hoping you'd enjoy it with me after you went to O'Connor's.
Mary stops washing dishes for a moment and listens in on the conversation.
Oh, I can't go to that place.
Mary turns back around and continues washing.
Why not?
A few years ago, they kicked me out and told me never to come back.
What for?
For smacking the barkeep when he wouldn't serve me any more drinks.
They all laugh again.
Made me feel like a kid again, getting kicked out of bars.
Remember Smokey's Tavern?
When me and that girl's boyfriend had a slight disagreement on who she belonged to.
You were lucky I was there to help when he started throwing chairs around.
Laughter ensues.
Well, we're all about to get going.
Hold on a second. Mary's bringing out the cake. Mary
comes around the corner with a single slice of red velvet cake with a candle lit on top and sets it in front of Calvin. She goes back and starts cutting more pieces.
Y'all aren't gonna sing, are you? Good.
He starts eating, and Mary brings slices out for everyone else. Interior, home living room. Calvin is back in his chair watching the news after the family has left. The remaining third of the cake sits on the coffee table. He has a plate with a slice sitting in his lap. He drops the fork and begins to cough and convulse slightly.
Mary.
No response. He continues coughing as Mary comes around the corner, followed by Casey. Mary has a card with Calvin's name on it in her hand.
Mary, something's wrong.
His words come between gags and coughs.
Oh, don't worry, Calvin. We've got one last present for you to open.
Calvin clutches his throat and it sounds as if he's choking.
This is from all of us, Cal, the family.
She begins to open the card and pulls out a piece of paper. She holds it up to Calvin as he continues to writhe.
It's the last will and testament. Remember when you signed Casey's permission slip?
Calvin's eyes widen in disbelief.
There was no field trip.
Casey is hiding behind her mother, but watches as her uncle struggles to breathe.
It says here that you're leaving everything you have, including this house, to your sister and her beautiful daughter.
Calvin begins to foam at the mouth, his expression now full of rage. He tries to grab the piece of paper.
No, Cal, no. That's not all we got for you. The other part of this gift was the arsenic I put in your first piece of cake.
Calvin is wheezing and spitting, all the while he remains enraged.
I wish we didn't have to do it, Cal, but we couldn't stand to live with you anymore. It was my idea at first, but Casey insisted on it. We decided it was official the day after she told me what you did to her, and you probably don't even remember it.
She leans in and whispers to him.
Happy birthday, you son of a bitch.
Calvin slumps back, his face expressionless. His eyes lose the anger they always had. Now they just look dead.
Happy birthday, Uncle Calvin.
The end. Interior, restaurant kitchen. Mary, a middle-aged waitress, is clocking out at the computer. The calendar above her left shoulder reads February. She looks tired and rubs her sore back. Enter Lawrence, the restaurant owner. Last one out, huh?
Yeah. Carrie was supposed to be here, but her baby caught a cold. What are you still doing here?
Just finishing up counting the drawers and locking up the safe. You don't work tomorrow, do you?
Nope. Friday's off. Gotta drive my kids to school.
Great.